Welcome to Wesley Impact. I'm Keith Garner. I wonder what the Advent season means to you. Well, thank you for being part of the programme, whether it's the first time or whether you're a regular. As the year begins to rush towards the end of the year and winds down, many of us are beginning to look forward to spending time with family and friends, perhaps enjoying some holidays. But for some people who work at Wesley Mission, the end of the year means quite the opposite. For many families, Advent and Christmas is a reminder of what they don't have and what they can't afford. It's a time of stress and family tensions. Through our work at Wesley Family Services, we try to make Christmas a pleasant time for all people as we celebrate the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ. The start of Advent's a unique time in the Christian calendar. It has its roots very much in France, actually, early on in the early centuries of the Christian community, when for a number of weeks people prepared for Christmas, rather a bit like Lent is to Easter. Advent was that time when gradually the time unfolded till Christmas. But it's also a time when some of the big words like judgment and those words that are to do with light and darkness are all explored during Advent. So it's a very important time for us, and we've lit the first of our candles that relate to the whole story of Advent. We'll be joined by David Allen, who's the Executive Manager of our Community and Family Care work here at Wesley Mission. We'll take a glimpse and a look at the work of Wesley Mission and what we're doing this Christmas, in particular focusing on families and children. And once again, we're going to be joined by Elizabeth Ray, who'll sing Known and Loved, and I'll continue to share some thoughts about the life and influence of Jesus from the Galilee, looking at the feeding of the crowds. This was a film that was part of this brand new series that we're looking forward in 2018 in being able to share with you. It'll be available very soon. But first, as I mentioned, Christmas and Advent in particular is not just about joy and peace. It's an important time of the year as we are mindful of the negative impacts. I mean, Christmas seems to have begun way back in July and August in popular perception. But when it comes to Advent, we just hold a break. I often tell my people that one of my jobs is to hold back Christmas so that we can truly enjoy the Advent season. Let's take a look together at the work we do, not only in Advent, but all the year round to help people know real joy.
I suppose it's, you can't control it. You'll feel so excited and nothing can get you down. And it can be quite dangerous, you know, like you can be in a car and want to speed. And then all of a sudden you'd be that low to the point where you're just like, life is just not worth it. It's never going to get better. That's how you feel like you're just not going to get better. And there's nothing better to do other than drink or take your life. The first time I realised I was ill was actually when I had my first daughter. I actually got postnatal depression, and then it led from postnatal depression into more problems. Like I didn't realise I had postnatal depression, and I don't think they realised either. I think they just wanted to name it bipolar because my mum suffers with bipolar. So, but yeah, like my moods were very up and down. To tell you the truth, I don't really remember when I was sick. Like I remember being sick, but I don't remember things happening. Things went so fast. It would be like a year of depression. And then I'd become well, and it seemed like it was only like a couple of weeks of sickness. It was crazy. So when I was depressed, you know, like I would always sleep a lot, and I found myself thinking that my daughter could make her own breakfast in the morning. I used to have really bad suicidal thoughts, mainly because of the drinking. Wesley Mission, I suppose they came into my life because I felt that I couldn't manage behaviours with my children. They come into your home and, you know, they help you get your life back on track. They have contact with a lot of a variety of things, like, you know, play groups to meet other parents, They also can help you with things like behaviour management, courses like 1, 2, 3, the steps of behaviour. I do that a lot still now. It's quite funny. It took a lot to me to take at first, especially when they need to tell you what's going on, like your house may be messy or your floors are so unclean. It's they have to tell you. She come around the next week and she was so amazed. She was like, "Oh, you cleaned your room, you cleaned your carpet, it smells so good," and I was being intent, and I felt great. Working for me is the best step I've ever taken in my life. So I've been working at my work over at Eastern Creek Hotel for going on a year now, and it's such a good feeling working where I am. I feel great getting up in the morning, putting on my t-shirt, putting on my shoes, putting on my name badge, and it gives you that sense of knowing that you're worth something. My goal is to keep my job, obviously, but I would love to be a manager. And I recently just got my certificate in hospitality, so that was a goal, and I got that. Also, I never thought I'd ever get my license, and I have. Just pick up the phone, call for help. That's what I did. Even if you feel that it's the lowest you've ever been, just pick up the phone. Wesley is always going to help. They're there for you.
If you would like to learn more about Wesley Mission, visit wesleymission.org.au. You can find help in our community services, connect with our church and congregations, discover a volunteer role that suits you, stay up to date on the latest news and information, donate to support our work, and help make a positive difference in your community. You can also connect with us on social media and subscribe to receive the latest news and information about Wesley Mission directly into your inbox. Visit wesleymission.org.au.
So do visit our website if we can be of any help to you in any way. Also from our website, you can find out more about our work, follow us on social media, and stay up to date with all the events that we'll be running in the lead up to Christmas this year. The website and email address are on the screen now. But joining me now in the studio is David Allen. David is an executive manager of community and family care work here at Wesley Mission. Welcome, David. Good to see you again.
Thank you for having me.
Look, how many families and children, what are we talking about that we come into contact with and that we're trying to help?
So across the services in my area, we deal with up to 5,000 families, and it covers a complete range. So we deal with child protection, we deal with families who are just on the brink of risk to families who have severe and persistent mental health, families that are homeless or families that are in home but are struggling.
I like the idea that you just said who are at risk, just on the edge of, because we try, don't we, not to make sure they don't go over the edge, if
Absolutely.
you like.
Absolutely. That's a big focus of a lot of the work that we do, is to try and prevent people slipping into crisis. You can be homeless, but prevention is always going to be a far better way to manage a situation.
What type of supports do we provide?
So we can provide, we provide a lot of early intervention care and support. So we'll do supported play groups, we'll run parenting groups, we'll run soft contact groups, we'll run through to child protection. So families who are at risk of losing their children to the child protection system. We work with Department of Education and Employment to help parents find employment. We work in the homelessness space, accommodating families.
One of the reasons I want to talk to you today is we're in Advent and Christmas, and we've got all these people talking about Christmas in these gloriously emblazoned ways in our cities and town and rural Australia. Why is it more difficult or different at Christmas time?
Well, it's the stress, it's the anxiety, it's the expectation that people have, that society has on families, that a mother isn't a good mother unless she can provide the best toys or the most number of toys for the kids. And the kids who don't have a good Christmas experience are therefore is a failure. So the expectation is significant, and so families really feel that at that time of year. Plus they feel the pressure to get along. Families are dynamic beasts, and not all families will get along, and not all families can get along. So when Christmas comes around and the families feel that they have to have a great time and Christmas has to be a wonderful experience for everyone, and it doesn't, then the expectation and is significant, and that can push mental health.
Worldwide, telephone ministries, people where we're trying to help them, churches find people turn to them at Christmas because the pressure is often greatest. And I think that it's also a time when perhaps memories are running high. You know, if you've got expectations of relationships that existed that no longer exist. What are some of the activities that we'll be doing this Christmas?
So leading up to Christmas, we'll do a hamper drive. So we try and make sure that to release that pressure and the burden on families, we'll try and do a range of different hampers, both food hampers as well as presents for the children.
So let me butt in and say, if you're at home and you want to do something, there's one thing you can do. Get a hamper to Wesley Mission early on now so we can help people. What else do we do?
We also run a range of activities leading up to it, so barbecues, opportunities where families can come along and have an activity, an event, which they can sort of label as a Christmas activity. Where we have accommodation, we'll run barbecues, we'll run meals or get-togethers, we'll run opportunities where families don't have to own the responsibility of having a fun time themselves, and we can sort of support them in that way. So quite often we'll be running get-together. So in our Mums and Kids program, they run a Christmas barbecue for the mums that are living on site for over Christmas, and a get-together in the gardens. David,
how many years have you worked for us?
12 years now.
12 years, nearly the time I came, really, about that time. So tell me, you've worked in various jobs as well, haven't you? Different areas, and you've been involved in. How does your faith fit into all of that?
For me, faith, it's a guide. For me, my faith is a. I just know that it's there, and it's something that I don't need to worry about. So for me, it's a reassurance. For me, it's a comfort. I know that even though it looks hard, the road looks hard for me, I know that God will be guiding me in that, and so that's a stress I don't need to worry about, because I know God will have a plan. I might not like what it's happening, or I might be uncomfortable, but I know the end result will work out. So that takes pressure off me. So that's how my faith works with me. So So I don't understand where the road's going to take me. It's only when I stop and look back that I can see God's plan.
Yeah, and the Christian life is hard yakka sometimes, isn't it? We've got to really stick in there. Thank you, David, for sharing with us, and also encouraging people to support us through the Advent and Christmas season and appeals. Now please welcome Elizabeth Ray and the Wesley Impact Band to sing Known and Loved.
In your hands, I am held and made whole. In the presence of God, I am known. You are here, and to draw me in close and tell me you love me, Lord. In your hands, I am held and made whole. In the presence of God, I am known. You are here, and to draw me in close and tell me you love me, Lord. How wonderful, how marvelous, how glorious you are. Your loving kindness my name and everything about me. I seek your face and find you're all I need. You count my tears and drive away my fears. I know you love me, Lord. How wonderful, how marvelous, how glorious you are. Your loving kindness overflows. I am known and loved by God. I am known and loved by God.
I chose to volunteer at Wesley Mission because I'm passionate about justice.
I chose to volunteer with Wesley Mission because I've always wanted to work with people who have a disability.
You meet friendly people. They're all people who are self-motivated and energetic.
It not only gives me a purpose, keeps me active, and activity leads to longevity.
Wesley Mission currently provide over 130 individual services with over 2,000 employees, supported by over 3,000 volunteers to assist over 21,000 families and individuals each year. Whew, that's a lot of numbers. So as you can imagine, we are always looking for more volunteers to help. So please, volunteer today. Visit our website, wesleymission.org.au. You will not only be meeting new and interesting people, but you will be doing all the good you can, because every life matters.
Over the years of Wesley Impact, Keith Garner has had hundreds of conversations sharing stories of hope, resilience, love and the Christian faith. Perspectives on Faith and Sport is a collection of inspiring and insightful conversations with people who are champions in their field, including Commonwealth Games gold medalist Deb Lovely, tennis great Margaret Court, Olympic swimmer Elka Whalen, long distance runner Eloise Wellings, Olympic gold medalist Duncan Armstrong, and two-time boxing world champion Nigel Benn. Each conversation shares a unique perspective on sport and the achievements of notable sporting greats, and collectively presents a broad cross-section of athletes and how their faith has changed their lives. Perspectives on Faith and Sport is the second instalment of a three-part series and is available now from Wesley Mission. To find out more, contact Wesley Mission on 02 9263 5555 or email impacttv@wesleymission.org.au.
So now I'm going to share some thoughts with you about the feeding of the crowd. Not here from the studio, as I normally do, but from a short excerpt of a documentary series about Jesus in Galilee. This was filmed at Bethsaida by the plains where Jesus took the fish and broke the bread and fed the multitudes. Bethsaida is an important place within the Gospels because it's the place where some of the most significant disciples actually came from. But the story I want to tell you begins some distance from here. The disciples are gathering together and they're telling what they've achieved, the stories they've told, the things that they've seen, and they're sharing those stories as any group of friends would, but significantly as a group of friends who are following Jesus. The crowds were keeping them busy. They were coming and going, making requests, wanted to hear stories, and wanted to be very much part and near this new group of people that was making such an impression upon the area. Jesus knew that they really hadn't had some food. They'd been so busy. He said to them, let's go to a quiet place. And that's become a kind of verse for people who want to find retreat. Come, let's go to a quiet place. That's what he says to the disciples. And so he led them. He led them to a boat. The boat and Galilee are so intricately bound in the story of Jesus. They got into the boat and they went. Now, at the same time, the crowd that had been part of all that was happening with the disciples saw what they were doing. It's as if the news went from one to another saying, let's go and see where he's going. And we're told in the scriptures that they ran and they outran the boat, so that when Jesus got off the boat, the truth was that they were there ready to greet him. Jesus got off the boat and looked at this crowd before him. And that's actually where we get that lovely verse, that he had compassion on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. He realized that these people were so eager to listen to what he got to say, so eager to hear this new teaching, that they would run in the heat to go and be beside him. And it was a remote place, as this indeed is a remote place. It was a remote place, no shops nearby, and there might have been easily an argument for the disciples going off and getting whatever it is you get in those days to be able to feed themselves and to feed the crowd that was there, because the crowd was enormous. It was getting late in the day, they'd nothing to eat, and so they go and they make a request of Jesus as to what they should do. And Jesus then says, you feed them. I mean, what a question that was. What a statement that was. You feed them? Well, that's the last thing that they could do. They had so little resources of themselves. You feed them. And so they go off to look at what the resources were. And there are two things that we notice. Firstly, in John's Gospel, it tells us that they say a little lad. In fact, Andrew finds a little lad, a little boy, who's got to offer what he has. And what he offers is 5 loaves and 2 fishes. That's all he had, and that's what he was able to offer. Now, very clear instructions were given to the disciples to arrange everybody into groups of people. And here's another lovely insight in Mark's Gospel. The Gospel writer, who is always very, very keen on detail, tells us the grass was green, which would tell us this was probably spring. Some rains had come. The grass looked beautiful, not as it does today, but in those days it was so green everywhere. And they were able to sit down. They were out in rows and groups, and the disciples served the food that Jesus blessed, reminding us of how he would bless meals so often in the story of the Christian faith. And the food was taken out, and it was impossible to imagine such a multiplication. From 5 loaves and 2 fishes, such a great crowd was fed. And here's the bottom line. When it was all over, there were 12 basketfuls left over. No, you don't expect me to be able to easily explain that. All I know is this. It's interesting that it's recorded in all 4 Gospels and that it becomes such an important part of the stories of Jesus. I think the overriding message is this, that Jesus Christ is able to take whatever it is we offer and do far more abundantly over and above anything we can imagine by the use of his power and his grace. That would be a story that would imprint itself on the disciples' minds, not only in one moment, but I think for all time. Hope you found those thoughts insightful. People wonder why I'm wearing a hat and why it looks like it 35 degrees centigrade, let me tell you. But very important how Jesus fed the crowds. Do keep an eye out for the series when it comes.
If you would like to contact Keith and find out more about today's program, write to us at Wesley Mission, Post Office Box A 5555, Sydney South 1235, or you can send us an email to impacttv@wesleymission.org.au. On our website, you can catch up on past episodes of Wesley Impact, find out more about our work, read online magazines and articles, and connect with us on social media. You can also connect through Keith's blog and stay up to date on all the latest news and information from Wesley Mission, wesleymission.org.au.
Our website address is there for you on the screen if you want to make contact with us for any reason, or we can be of any help to you, wesleymission.org.au. Also, you can write to me on an email address on the screens if you want to have any contact or information, or you want to find more things out from Wesley Mission. I hope you enjoyed the conversation with David Allen. As we now begin Advent and the lead up to Christmas, there'll be so many things that we're doing. I hope your programme isn't too busy. I'd like to encourage you to reach out to us and to reach out to those in your local community. If you're able, why not do something to somebody that you've never done before? And as David Allen mentioned, this can be a very challenging time of the year. May God bless you. Look forward to seeing you at the same time next week. God bless.
Wesley Mission provides more than 800 home care packages each year to families and individuals. To find out more, visit wesleymission.org.au.